Welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do a Q&A video where I answer all the questions that you asked me on my Instagram page. So if you're not following me on there, my username is @kellyhays23, and periodically I'll post a question box up there where you guys can ask me whatever question that you want, and I'll either answer on Instagram or do a Q&A video on YouTube. Last year I did a Q&A video kind of wrapping up the year, so I thought that would be a good idea to wrap up 2023 and also give you guys a sneak peek preview of what's to come on the channel in 2024. But wow, 2023 was a year. A lot happened this year. I did a lot of things this year, and overall it was an awesome year. So let's dive straight into these questions, see what you guys have been asking. I think the number one question that I got on this question box was thinking about repeating the AT? AT again? When will you thru hike the AT again? And are you doing your next AT thru hike? And I get messages about that literally every single day on Instagram and comments on YouTube and such. I will say this now, that I will rehike the Appalachian Trail. When I do that, I am not completely sure yet. I know next time that I go, I would like to go Sobo. I think it would be a completely different experience. And I think that with the AT becoming so congested and so many people getting out and through hiking every year, and most of those people going Nobo, that Sobo would kind of help it not be as crowded. Even though my year was pretty crowded and I was in that Nobo bubble and it didn't really feel crowded on trail, but like I said, I think Sobo would just be a very cool experience, and that is definitely to come. But I have a lot of other trails on my list that I would like to do before I redo the AT, but I would do it again in a heartbeat because I loved that trail so much. This is a really good question. How long did it take you to feel comfortable with solo travel? So I was terrified to do anything solo when I first started adventuring by myself. You hear stories on the news all the time, but eventually I just had to block all of that out and go do it. And I think my number one motivator was the fact that I wanted to do all these things, and I would sit around and not do them because I couldn't find anybody to do them with me. Because the older you get, and especially once you get in college, everybody has a different schedule in life, and then people start getting jobs, they don't have the same days off as you, and maybe they don't want to do the same things as you on their day off, and so you get into this vicious cycle of just kind of waiting for somebody to do something with you, and if they don't, then you just don't do what you want to do. And I don't think that's a good way to live your life, because life is short and you should be able to do the things that you want to do whether you're with somebody or not. And so I started out just going on shorter day hikes by myself and getting comfortable just being out by myself in the woods. I started out going to trails that I was comfortable with, that I've done many times, and then I started branching out to trails that were a little bit longer, a little bit farther away, ones that I hadn't done before. And then I think it was 2019, and there's a video up on my channel. It was my first overnight camping trip by myself, and I was so scared. I don't think I got any sleep that night, and I was camping at just I think it was a Corps of Engineers typical campground by the lake here in Arkansas, a lake that I've been to hundreds of times. But I was just so terrified, and I even had people camping right next to me, and it was like a family. Now I look at that situation and I think I wouldn't even think of it as being a thing now, but back then I was scared. I kept hearing noises creeping around my tent at night, but I got through that night, and it helped me to build confidence to being out there alone. I think thru hiking really helped with that. Most of my thru hikes I am with other people, but there were times on the AT where I would be kind of by myself for a couple weeks doing my own thing. And even though on the AT it's kind of hard to camp alone because there's so many people out there, just kind of being on your own adventure and not relying on somebody else helps to build confidence as well. A couple years of doing things solo by myself, I've just gotten more and more comfortable, and I just always go back to being situationally aware of my surroundings and being prepared in every which way if something were to go wrong. Are you going to become a full-time Florida resident? So those of y'all who are watching or maybe new to the channel, I am from Arkansas. I've lived in Florida pretty much all of 2023 since I hiked the Florida Trail, and then I've been working my healthcare job the past 6 months full-time in Florida. I'm back in Arkansas right now, by the way, and I do not have any plans to move to Florida permanently. While I love Florida so much, I kind of look at it as a vacation state, even though I've been working there as well. But even while I'm working there, it still feels like just a big vacation. Eventually, when I do settle down and look into buying land and property and owning something, it will definitely be in my home state of Arkansas because I just love it here. I think if I ever did like make enough money and had the opportunity to, I would buy like a beach house or a vacation home in Florida to have for like real estate opportunity and vacations. How do you keep everything charged on the go? Great question. So I use a Nitecore 20,000 milliamp hour battery bank, and I also have a link in my description of all like the gear that I use. And here's an example of kind of what they look like. There's a bunch of different ones out there, but I recommend Anchor. Anything Anchor or Nitecore is a really good brand, and I just carry them in my backpack. And also I carry like extra batteries for my camera, my GoPro, so I can just switch those out and I just make sure everything is charged before I go. And then when I'm backpacking, I will just, carry this and be more conscious about when I'm using my devices and try to save on battery as much as I can. Have you ever thought about bike packing? Yes, I have actually, and I think it would be a really fun sport to get into. I don't really have a bike right now. I want to get a mountain bike eventually, like a road bike, mountain bike hybrid, but bikes are very expensive and I'm trying to save money right now for other hikes and paying off student loans and stuff like that. So maybe once I get all that other stuff figured out, I'll get into bike packing. A couple people ask questions like, where do you want to be in 5 years? Your dreams for the next 3 years? Are you going to buy a piece of land, get settled, get married, travel, change jobs? I really have, let's see, in the next 5 years, I'll be 35. Wow, that's crazy. I'll be like almost 40. Ew. Well, by then I hope I have my piece of land, a tiny home, and kind of have like a home base established. Right now I don't really have a home base. Like I come visit my parents back home in between contracts and hikes, but I don't really have my home, my space. So it would be nice to kind of get settled in that way. As far as like getting married and settling down, like I don't know if I'll be ready to settle down necessarily. Like I probably will still want to travel. As far as getting married, like that is kind of up to fate. I have to meet the person that I'm gonna marry first. I'm just gonna kind of let that happen in its own time. A lot of you guys have been asking, where are you and James hiking? What is James up to these days? Where is James? Y'all, James works full-time in Virginia. He's working 2 jobs currently. We live 1,000 miles apart. We're still really good friends, but we are kind of on different paths of life right now. We're still really good friends and we still talk very often, but we both have long distance hikes planned next year, but we won't be doing the same one because we want to do different ones. So yeah, that's that. Somebody asked, what was your free throw percentage? For those of y'all who don't know, I played basketball in high school and college. And I think in high school, my free throw percentage was close to 80%. I think it was like 77, 78% or something like that. What inspired you to run an ultramarathon? So this is a great question, and eventually I'm going to make a video talking about my upcoming ultramarathon that I'm really excited about, but I never really knew what it was until I started through hiking and I started hearing about people getting off trail and running these 50-mile races. And I always thought, wow, that's so cool. I've done a lot of bigger mile days. We did a ton of 30s. I did a 50-mile day on the Florida Trail. And I just thought to myself, you know, if I could do that on trail while through hiking, what can I do without a backpack and while also running? And I really enjoy that, pushing myself to my limits and seeing what I'm capable of. And I feel like that is what an ultra is all about, is seeing what you're made of, how far you can push yourself. It's going to be largely mental as well as largely physical, running 30 plus miles through the mountains. It's something that I want to see if I can do. Everything about it just seems like so much fun, so I'm really excited for that. What is your next through hike? I do have a very big through hike planned for 2024. Drop in the comments what you think it's going to be. But I am not going to announce that just yet, just because plans are not solidified. Like once I get the flight ticket booked and I get with my people and we get a date set, then I will be making a video about that and talking about that and doing gear videos and stuff in preparation for that hike. But it's so early. My life is so spontaneous and all over the place that I feel like every time I announce something, 2 weeks later the plan changes, and so I'm going to just hold out on that real quick. But I do have a list that I made of hikes that I really want to do. I was sitting in the living room yesterday and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna make a list of all the trails that I want to do very soon. Now, the list is much longer than this, but I would say like in the near future, within the next 3 years, I would like to knock out a lot of these trails, which I don't even know if is possible because this is a lot. But I do want to do the big 3 trails. So I've done the AT, I want to finish the PCT, and I want to do the CDT. But there's also a lot of smaller trails around the country and out of the country that I want to do as well. So I'm going to try to sprinkle those in when I can. But right now, the Long Trail, the Superior Hiking Trail, the Washita Trail, and the Ozark Highlands Trail, those are really high on my list. Those are 2 long distance trails in Arkansas. I want to do the Arizona Trail, the Ocean to Lake Trail, which is a smaller trail. I think it's only 64 miles, but that is part of the Florida Trail system in Florida. I want to do Eagle Rock Loop here in Arkansas. Again, that's a shorter trail. I think it's a 30-mile loop. I want to do the Benton MacKaye Trail, the Foothills Trail, Ice Age Buckeye Trail, the Camino de Norte, that's the one in Spain, Rim to Rim Grand Canyon, Israel Trail, Mid-State Trail, Sheltowee, the New England Trail, the Tahoe Rim Trail, and the John Muir Trail. So it's a pretty expansive list all over the country, and a lot of these trails are under 1,000 miles. A couple of them are over, but I think they're pretty easy hikes to do. You know, a 200-mile trail will take me about a couple weeks or less, depending on how long I want to be out there. Those are the trails that are currently on my radar. What has been your most rewarding hiking adventure? That is tough because I find reward in all of my hiking adventures. I think I learn something different from every trail that I do, and even on day hikes, they are sometimes the most rewarding because I go out there to find clarity about something, and just being out in nature for a short time can really help bring you clarity on a number of different things, whatever you need it on. Well, the Appalachian Trail is just 100% life-changing. Like, my life will never be the same after through hiking the Appalachian Trail, hands down. So that will always have to be number one. But I think the Florida Trail, I mean, I guess that's the second through hike I've technically done, but I had a lot of, I guess, doubts going into that trail because my incomplete through hike of the PCT the year prior, everything just kind of fell apart, and had kind of lost a little bit of confidence in myself. And I wondered, like, am I capable of through hiking another trail? I had a lot of negative comments on the internet saying, like, maybe you should just stick to day hikes and stuff like that. And, you know, that's just silly. And I knew that, but I needed to prove that to myself. I just felt so great that that whole hike. Had some obstacles, my feet were really hurting at the beginning, had some things happen in the middle of the hike that could have brought me down as well, but I persevered to push through and finish that trail, and I'm always going to be really proud of that trail. All right, somebody also asked, would you ever do the Florida Trail again? I'm watching now, and the hiking in the water is, yeah, I would do the Florida Trail again. I think it would be really fun. I would do a couple different routes. So like you have options when you get to Lake Okeechobee if you want to go east or west. I went west, so if I did it again, maybe I'd go east. And then when you get up towards Orlando, you can go east or west. I went east. Maybe next time I would go west through the Green Swamp. So yeah, the Florida Trail, I think, if I ever find myself just kind of chilling around wintertime and looking for something to hike, I would definitely do the Florida Trail again. Okay, I get this question all the time, and for good reason, because I know that you guys want to know what happened on the Florida Trail. Why did you have to leave? A lot of y'all know what I'm talking about. If you watch the Florida Trail series, I did get off trail for a short time when I was only probably like 5 days from finishing the trail. I left and ended up taking a little hiatus. I went up to the Appalachian Trail in my van, lived out of my van for a couple weeks on the AT, hiked the Smokies, did a bunch of trail magic, and had the absolute best time with a bunch of the class of AT 2021 thru hikers. And that might have been the highlight of my whole year, was getting back on trail and hanging out with the folks and being around thru hikers and that whole community. But the reason behind me doing that, I actually received a death threat. I'm not going to go into detail of everything. It was one of the situations where authorities advised that I should get off the trail for my safety, and the rest of the Florida Trail people stuck with me, so that was really nice. The threat made me rethink a lot of stuff, actually, you know, my safety and putting my life out on the internet. A lot more comes with it than meets the eye to the public. You know, during that time, it was a very touchy situation. It wasn't something that I could just come on here and talk about, because that would then put me at more danger. A few people have made mention that, well, you should say something because it may help other hikers. That wasn't my place. There was other enforcements involved that could have relayed that to the public, but at the time I was so overwhelmed with the situation that I didn't know how to manage it on my YouTube channel. I didn't know what to say and all of that, because I just kind of got off trail and left no explanation. Some people did get mad and angry at me for not saying anything about the situation at the time, even though, like, at the end of the day, like, it didn't matter, because I had to do what was best for me in my situation. I don't know. It was just a confusing time for me all around. I was very overwhelmed. I was angry, I was upset. It was all of the emotions surrounding that. And I know that this channel has helped a lot of people. It's given people inspiration to get back out in nature. I've gotten tons of messages about people have watched my videos and they went hiking for the first time in years, or they went on their first backpacking trip because they saw my videos. And that's why I continue to do this. This is why I continue to show up. I love creating, I love exploring, I love adventuring, and I love sharing it with you guys. And so thank you to those who understood during that time. It is in the past, and I pray that I will stay safe on all of my future journeys on trail. Alright, you guys, I think that's gonna do it for the questions and for the Q&A. As far as where we'll be going together next year, that is kind of right now up in the air. I'm kind of waiting to hear back from something. Like I said, right now I am back in Arkansas, probably for the next few weeks. So we'll be doing some Arkansas adventures. I'm excited to show you guys around my home state that I love so much. We'll be doing some camping, some hikes, things like that. Let me know if there's anything in particular that you'd like to see while I'm back here in Arkansas, and then I'll keep you guys updated on what's to come for the rest of the year. But I will say that I'll be on another hike, probably in the 5 to 6 months range, starting the summertime. I'm excited to get back on trail and get back to the hiking vlogs. That is just my bread and butter. I love making those videos. I love shooting those videos. I just love being on trail, and I hope you guys are excited to go on another big through hike with me. I hope everybody has an awesome rest of 2023. Have a few days left to go on a hike, go outside, go camping, I don't know, enjoy the weather, even though it may be cold where you are. Bundle up, it'll be fun. So thank you guys so much for tuning in to today's episode. I will see you very soon, and yeah, love y'all. Bye.